Fear does not just make you uncomfortable. It makes you easier to control, because fear changes the way you think. Not forever, not in every situation, but in the moment it matters most. When your brain senses threat, it starts prioritizing speed over depth, fast reactions over careful reasoning, urgency over reflection. And once someone can keep you in that state long enough, they do not need to overpower you. They just need to steer you. That is the part most people miss. Control does not always look aggressive. Sometimes it looks like pressure. Sometimes it looks like confusion. Sometimes it looks like a person who keeps you slightly unsettled, slightly anxious, slightly unsure of where you stand. A partner who suddenly goes cold. A boss who makes you feel like one wrong move could cost you everything. A parent who keeps love close but never fully secure. A person who never says enough to prove anything, but always says enough to keep you tense. That tension is not passive. It is doing work. Because when part of your mind is busy scanning for danger, approval, rejection, or change in tone, you have less attention left for judgment, less space for perspective, less distance between pressure and obedience. And that is where fear becomes leverage. It usually follows a pattern. First, uncertainty, then pressure, then a solution. You feel the threat, you feel the discomfort. And then the same person, system, or environment that created the fear gives you a way to make it stop. Do this. Say this. Stay here. Trust me. Do not question it right now. And the relief feels real. That is what makes it dangerous. Because your brain starts learning the wrong lesson. Not, this is unsafe. But safety comes from pleasing the source of fear. That is not trust. That is conditioning. And once that pattern repeats enough times, something deeper starts happening. You stop trusting your own read on things. You second-guess your reactions. You wait for permission. You need reassurance before making simple decisions. You start borrowing certainty from whoever sounds the calmest, strongest, or most confident in the room. Even when they are the reason you became afraid in the first place. That is how fear quietly attacks self-trust. And here is the uncomfortable truth. The person doing this does not always look like a villain. Sometimes they are manipulative. Sometimes they know exactly what they are doing. But sometimes they are afraid too. They have learned that if other people stay uncertain, they stay important. If other people stay anxious, they stay needed. If other people stay destabilized, they stay in control. Fear protecting power is often just fear protecting itself. So what do you actually do with that? First, notice urgency. A lot of manipulation becomes visible the moment you slow the clock down. Real clarity rarely arrives under artificial countdowns. If someone is collapsing your thinking window, that matters. If you are being pushed to react before you can reflect, that matters. Take the extra minute. Take the extra night. Take the space, not to be difficult, to think with your full mind again. Second, notice your body around people. Who makes you feel clearer? Who makes you feel managed? Who leaves you feeling steadier? Who leaves you rehearsing, over-explaining, scanning, shrinking, adjusting? That difference matters more than most people realize. And finally, ask yourself one hard question. What am I actually afraid of losing? The person, the approval, the job, the peace, the identity I built around being compliant, agreeable, useful, easy to handle. Because sometimes the deepest fear is not the threat itself, it is the version of you that might emerge if you stopped obeying it. Fear is information, but it is not always information about danger. Sometimes it is information about conditioning, about a pattern, about what your mind has been trained to expect. And the moment you can separate real danger from manufactured fear, something changes. You become harder to rush, harder to confuse, harder to own. Not because you stop feeling fear, but because you stop letting someone else decide what your fear means.